hold up this massive brick that is Clarissa by Samuel Richardson. Now, it's actually heavy to hold the damn thing. So
You've been holding it for a month straight. You can finally put it down.
Yeah. I feel sad because this took up the first 2 weeks of my month, and yet I think I've only got like 5 minutes to talk about it, which is the lowest rate of return I think I've ever had for, you know.
It's also just like a Sisyphean task, if that's a word.
Pretty much, yeah. Now, we listen to the last episode if you want to hear, like, I talked about it for 20 minutes already. The first half. This is the second half.
I shall have a cup of tea while you finish off your thoughts.
So the 20-second summary is that she was in a room, locked in there by her family because she wouldn't marry this guy. She wanted to go with this other guy called Lovelace. She runs away with him, and he then locks her in a different room and won't let her out. That's essentially the first half of this book. So that's like 700 pages in a sentence. We left it where I was worried he was going to rape her, and that's kind of where we cut off. So he rapes her. That's where we begin.
Oh, there goes another month.
I know. Next month we try really hard. But I kind of saw this...
To avoid anything to do with...
It shouldn't be this difficult, though, but so many books appear to have rapes in them. What he does is first of all, he threatens to rape her, but she fends him off. She escapes. He has her brought back, and then he drugs and rapes her.
Okay.
And then he proposes marriage, and he's like, well, now that she's already ruined, she'll marry me. Problem solved. And she's like, no, I really hate you. Kind of think you should be in jail or dead or something. And he's like, oh, do I need to rape her a second time? Did the test not work? It's like, what? How is that anything? What? How would that what does that even mean, you know? But he doesn't, thankfully. She does a bit, and there's a bit of detail where he gets people to dress up. He gets prostitutes to dress up as his family members to pretend that like they're in a respectable place, but it's a brothel and this type of stuff.
I'm also going to guess that they rushed through anything to do with that scene.
Yeah, kind of.
In a book so long, they overlook any element of action.
Of course. Because most of this is letters, and again...
I'm not saying you need it.
I know, but a lot of it is also still him writing to his friend, which is the bit I don't like, and that's now become most of the book. It is no longer Clarissa writing to her friend, Anna Howe. So I didn't like this nearly as much. So she escapes from the second room that she's trapped in. He goes off somewhere because I think his uncle's dying and he's going to inherit an earldom, so he has to leave for a while, but he tells people, like, keep her kidnapped in this room. But she does escape. So then the brothel keeper has her arrested for like not paying a bill there or something for her lodgings. So she then is trapped briefly in a third room, which is a prison, until she manages to get out. And they try to persuade her, like, Lovelace didn't do this, which is technically true.
This is the worst escape room ever.
Yeah. So she gets out of the prison and she's finally free, and she takes up lodgings above a glovemaker's shop, and then falls really ill and becomes trapped in that room for the remainder of the novel.
And so she gets typhoid or...
She gets miscellaneous and she dies.
Tuberculosis, and of course, yeah.
I mean, I guess we're supposed to assume she dies of just, like, the stress and the anxiety and the heartache and everything else, like, that came from the imprisonment and the rape and whatever, but she just dies of miscellaneous, yeah. But the book takes place over several months. 537 letters, some of which have sub-letters. And...
some of them are repeats.
Yeah. She doesn't even meet her friend in the end, during that entire time, you know? The other thing is, I wonder if some of the very few abridgments that there were are actually not by the editor, but were in the original. I do wonder if the writer was like, then he responded and said basically the same thing. Like, there's no need for me to actually copy it out. I don't know. Or someone has abridged it slightly. But I don't think this can be abridged, because it's massive.
I mean, it should be abridged.
It should be, yeah.
So I think you had queued up before this started...
yeah,
something else. You did change it.
You're going to send it down the gutter.
Am I, or are you?
I think I tentatively gave it a yeah last time, but then it really dragged on and on and on.
It got the yeah last time, so now it has to go down the gutter.
Part 2 goes down the gutter, I think. That's fair. Of course, it turns religious near the end when she's dying and she's asking for forgiveness and all this type of stuff. She's done nothing wrong, by the way, the entire book. She's Little Miss Perfect.
Okay.
she eventually writes to her father and says, look, I'm going to die. You cursed me in this life and the next because I disobeyed you. Can you at least lift the curse from the afterlife, please? Because I'm going there. So he does. And then the family keep still insisting, like, we don't really believe she's sick anyway, so they don't go to see her. Until it's too late. Of course, once she dies, they're like, we were just on our way. You know, we're all packed up and ready to go. Across town. Like, we could have gone at any point. Her friend, Anna Howe, who she's written all these letters to, is also just on the point of visiting her. Like, everybody leaves it too late. She dies. I'm like, everyone's terrible.
Was her friend any good? Like,
I don't know.
It's like, you're about dead. I guess I'll go visit.
The only person who really hangs out is this friend of Lovelace's, Belford, who kind of takes a shine to her and helps her and ends up becoming the executor of her will in the end, because he's not a good guy. He's a rake like Lovelace, but he tries to reform himself when he sees what is going on here.
Okay.
And he becomes a bit of a confidant for her. But here's the problem. Everyone is still telling her, look, the best course of action is just to marry him. Like, her family, her best friend, and his friend, like, everyone is like, there is a social stigma here that you can clear up by marrying him. That is horrendous.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you are now impure, marry your rapist. Who cares what you want? What is this?
They mention, I think they said there's some ancient law from the Isle of Man or something, but they say when a man rapes a woman, the court present the woman with 3 options. A sword to behead him, a noose to hang him, and a ring to marry him. And she can make the choice. I still don't think the third one should be a choice, though. But better than nothing, I guess.
Yeah, as long as the first 2 are there.
Clarissa doesn't want him to actually be punished and forgives him, like, on her deathbed. He starts referring to her as Mrs. Lovelace and things like that, and you know, he thinks they're married. It's kind of morally repugnant, and I think that one of the main reasons it has to go down the gutter is because it doesn't even have a happy end. Like, she just dies. Like, her family are asses to her. She doesn't get to marry anyone in the end. She just dies, and they're like, oh, guess none of it really mattered. Like, none of these 1,500 pages mattered, and we probably didn't have to be so horrible to her. And she's dead at, like, 20 years old anyway.
So you're glad that you read Longest Book in the English Language?
To find that it was entirely inconsequential? No. I'm mad about that.
So, next thing he's going to read is the Iliad.
Oh, well, I could never finish that one. Maybe I'll try it again. Hold on. No.
Is that what you do in India?
No. But this book was fine. I don't want to say that it was, garbage or something. It was much better than I thought. I think if it had been, I liked the first half. I hit a wall around the 3/4 mark. And I'm just like, oh, it's still this. And I think for that reason. But also, there's a note in the back from the author who says, many people wrote to me claiming that this was too long and too slow, and they are all wrong. So, for that reason, it goes down the gutter as well. Because, you knew, and you're an ass.
Yeah, you were told this, and you couldn't get over yourself.
And the other problem is I can't read any of his other works. He has, I told you he has another work, which is another girl's name. It's Pamela or something. It's I can't, it's 600 pages, it is shorter. I'm never going to read it.
It's almost entirely the same thing.
I'm convinced it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So I can't ever read that again. But I think that's all I'm going to say about it. I think that's book 1, Clarissa, part second half.
All right.